I know in TV we sometimes get confused.
Why do you denigrate this man's service? I don't understand. 20 years,
Scott,
decorated,
okay. Scott,
Ivy Leaguer. He's a TV host.
Scott.
That's all he is.
Wait
it's
a
not his
second.
main qualification.
That is his main.
He's a TV
I like
host.
TV
It's his main
hosts.
qualification.
It is his.
You're denigrating this man's
qualifies
service.
you.
Not every member who serves deserves to be in charge of the DOD.
She said his main qualification is that he's a TV host, and I'm sorry, that's just baloney.
I think that gets him 40.
Complete baloney. Today we're watching Jennings destroying his CNN co-host live. Let's go.
But that he could not answer basic questions. Not just gotcha questions like, would you uphold the Geneva Conventions? Would you refuse an unlawful order if the president gave you one, which did happen under Trump before with Esbeth? Would you ever sic the U.S. military on American citizens? There are many examples of questions that, yes, he was very articulate and polished, and he's a TV host. That's his main qualification. I know in TV we sometimes get confused.
Why do you denigrate this man's service? I don't understand. 20 years,
Scott,
decorated,
okay. Scott,
Ivy Leaguer. He's a TV host.
Scott.
That's all he is.
Wait
it's
a
not
second.
his main qualification.
That is his main.
He's a TV
I like
host. It's his
TV
main
hosts.
qualification.
It is his.
You're denigrating this man's
qualifies
service.
you.
Not every member who serves deserves to be in charge of the DOD.
She said his main qualification is that he's a TV host, and I'm sorry, that's just baloney.
I think that gets him
he would have been
40%
His main
chosen for the
qualification
job?
is that he's a warfighter, and he's going to be the closest warfighter we've ever had to the enlisted people running the Pentagon. He's decorated, he's an Ivy Leaguer, and he knows what he's doing.
Just to be clear, Scott, I hear you say that because I remember Pete Hegseth said it. I think you should recall that there have been people who have run the Pentagon who have been in war. Even if they are officers, they have been in war. Their service doesn't get to be denigrated either.
I'm not, but I think he's
Just to be clear.
He's closer to the average enlisted man who has been deployed and deployed and deployed than anybody that's been up for this job
but do
forever.
not say,
Which is maybe why he defended war criminals.
Do not say that there have not.
Oh, now he's a war criminal.
No, he defended them when Trump
Let me
pardoned
take a
them.
shot at this. Let me take a shot at this.
That was beautiful. Scott Jennings is 100% right about this. There's no way that Pete Hegseth is going to do a bad job. Let's hear the next clip.
Well, in short, I think Pete Hegseth kicked their asses today. I mean, it wasn't even close. They didn't lay a glove on Hegseth. No mistakes. Calm, cool, collected. I mean, before the thing even started, you had this Code Pink, protester freak show trying to disrupt the hearing. That's the Democratic base, by the way, which probably explains why the Democrats on the committee acted in such a bizarre and unprofessional way. I was appalled at some of the way these senators handle themselves and some of the lines of questioning. I mean, Tim Kaine sounded like a sex pervert in his questioning of Pete Hegseth. Blumenthal, who lied about his service in Vietnam, questioning Hegseth's qualifications. You had Gillibrand, you had Warren, you had Hirono going on unhinged rants about things. Angus King obviously doesn't understand what it's like to fight terrorism. On and on and on. Hegseth was cool in the face of this unhinged questioning. They made him look good today. It would be difficult for a Republican to vote against Hegseth after the Democrats' unseemly mudslinging today. Well, in short, I think
he's 100% right about this. I think Hegseth did the best he could do to answer the question during his hearing, and he's probably very, very competent and totally fit for the job. That's what I believe.
Really, in the context of the modern military, because the reality is, as military leaders will tell you, climate change is a national security concern. It's real. It is a threat to our forces. It is a threat to our bases. It is a threat to our readiness. So I would have framed some of these questions more in the context of the current challenges the modern military faces. It is a diverse force. Really, in the context of the modern military, because the reality...
Yeah, that was a bad take, honestly. I don't think she's right about this. The look on Scott Jennings' face when California says climate change is a national security concern is completely wild. It has nothing to do with national security, if you ask me.
You might have recall a news story from last year. There was some interest in the fire departments and the firefighters in California, and the interest was that there were too many white men who were firefighters, and we need to have a program in California to make sure we don't have enough white men as firefighters. So we have DEI, we have DEI, budget cuts, and yet I'm wondering now, if your house was burning down, how much do you care what color the firefighter?
That's a great take on the crisis that's going on in California right now and the LA, Los Angeles wildfires. jobs. People are putting too much emphasis on race, on genders, and they are not putting enough emphasis on skills and competence and qualification, and that's sad.
You can respond and then we'll...
Listen, I am so tired. You know what? There was an article that just came out that said that actually the most educated demographic in this country right now is black women. So let me be clear. Because you are a woman, or because I know that some of the right has been sharing these photos of the fact that I believe that the fire chief may be a woman or something, that has nothing to do with it. We are looking at qualifications. What diversity, equity, and inclusion has always been about is saying, you know what? Open this up. Don't just look at the white men. Open it up and recognize that other people can be qualified. And the fact that we want to, at a time when people are dying, decide that a country of immigrants is failing or people are dying because the same very people that built this country, because the last time I checked, y'all didn't say that anything was wrong with the White House. And I can promise you it was my ancestors that built the White House. So listen, if we have been good enough to build this country, we are good enough to serve and die overseas, we are good enough.
It has nothing to do with this, honestly. If people are fighting against DEI hires, it is for good reason. It is because the left has gone way too far. The Democrats have gone way too far to tip the balance in their favor and try to put quotas in place to put minorities into job positions that they don't deserve. And it has gone way, way, way too far.
To serve in other ways. And the fact that people actually decide that they want to engage in public service, whether it's sitting in Congress or whether it's serving on the fire department or the police department, should not be an issue. The fact is, stop trying to act as if only white men are the ones that are capable. Because right now you're sitting at a table with three very capable.
That's not what he's saying at all. I'm
women.
sorry.
I'm not.
Exactly. Bad take.
I think also in this environment right now where immediately there's disinformation flowing through social media networks that cleaves down partisan lines, that is stopping our ability to be united. And we should not just accept that as inevitable. That is weakening our ability to unite as a nation and as cities.
Let me answer your criticism by asking you a question.
Sure.
Do you think it was uniting or dividing while in the midst of these fires for the Democrats to go to Sacramento and in an emergency session vote to appropriate $50 million to Trump-proof California, to sue the Trump administration, which hasn't even taken office yet? Do you think that was a good priority and a good time to do that, or no? Was that dividing? Was that divisive, or was that uniting?
Scott, I think what Sacramento does, and by the way, I think the focus should be entirely on the firefighting. And I'm not going to go take that, bait, because I don't know the details of that particular bill.
They voted to appropriate $50 million to sue Trump.
Yeah, we can all agree that basically the LA mayor and that the governor Gavin Newsom did a poor job to respond to this environmental crisis. We can all agree that climate change has made things worse and that these wildfires are going to become more and more frequent. But they also did a poor job in water management and forest management and should basically resign right now.
I mean, the reason people in California are unhappy is because the priorities over the last few years, over the last few decades, maybe in California, maybe haven't been on just competent governance. I mean, Democrats run everything out there. Mistakes were obviously made in water resource management. Mistakes were made in forest management. Mistakes were made in maybe budget cuts on the fire department. And so there is a question about, did we vote for people who know what they're doing? And so it's not about making it partisan. It's about making it competent. And I do think if I lived out there, I'd be asking myself, are competent people in charge? Because right now it doesn't seem like it. I mean, the reason...
He is 100% right about this. Are competent people in charge or not? I think people already know, everybody in the US knows that the left has gone too far and that has put people in place just because of their gender or their sexual preferences or their skin color, and it's sad to see.
I do think there's a split screen here, too, with Florida, to be honest. A lot of what we talk about it in terms of emergency management in this country almost always comes from hurricanes and weather. And who is the recognized best emergency manager in the country? Ron DeSantis in Florida. So Newsom is also, he's under assault from Trump a little bit, but, he's also dealing with, I think, a comparative here. What do other governors do? Is he as good? So when you talk about the future politics of it, is he as good at this as another governor might be? could be a real problem for him because, right now I think people have serious questions and there are no answers yet. He'll have a chance to answer them, but it doesn't look great right now.
He'll have a
Trump
chance
is
to
blaming Biden for this on a presidential level. He's about to be president for another 4 years. There are going to be more natural disasters that occur on his watch. And so you're setting up this situation where is it the president's fault every time there's a fire because conditions are dry, or every time there's a hurricane? When he's president, he will say it's not his fault. But it just kind of sets that up, that expectation up that, oh, well, the president has something to do with this or could have prevented this, which is not necessarily the case.
I'm not so sure what to think about this. I think people want answers. They want the Democrat to do better. They want fire department to do better. They want water management. They want forest management. They want people like Ron DeSantis running California. That's what I believe, because Governor Ron DeSantis did a great job with the hurricane crisis in Florida, whereas Gavin Newsom probably did the worst job possible.
Business. I think before we canonize St. Kamala here on the high holy day of January 6th, let's remember the Electoral Count Reform Act of 2022 makes it perfectly clear that the vice president has nothing but purely ministerial duties on this day. She didn't actually certify the results of the election. That's done by the voters.
It was clear as day 4 years ago as well.
Right.
But because of the
that's the thing. I mean, nobody's trying to canonize her. The same thing was true.
Oh, they're not. I mean, she put out a video trying to canonize herself.
She was actually just saying it's unremarkable. That's true.
That's the opposite of canonizing.
I want to actually congratulate the Democrats today. This is the first election since 1980.
He's doing this again.
This is the first election since 1988 that a Republican won, and Democrats did not try to overturn the results on the floor of the Congress. So congratulations, Democrats.
I'm only interrupting you because we've heard this before.
He's speaking the truth right there. Nothing else to say. I think he's making a great point. I think it is great. You have to give it to them. The Democrats did a great job by certifying Trump and not protesting on the street in front of it and accepting their defeat. But that just because Donald Trump won with a landslide. The Republican won by a large margin, by a huge margin. If everybody now is trying to side with Trump and get on the Republican side, on the side of the most powerful camp, the most influential camp, and the most powerful man in the world.
Gentlemen, thank you. I think. You want to talk about Justin Trudeau?
I wanted to talk about Canada.
You want to talk about Canada?
God bless the truckers. That's what I'm saying. Well, there's a direct line from those truckers to what's happening today. Good riddance.
I'm sleeping. It's only Monday. It's my first day back. This is hard on me. Sarah, please take it.
I'm going to take it from here because guess what I'm going to do? Talk about Canada. Yes, ma'am. We've got some breaking news. A source is telling CNN that Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will resign as party leader today. What this means for U.S.-Canada relations, we will discuss. And it was a night of firsts at the Golden Globes. We have the emotional moments, the upset.
Gentlemen, thank you. I think.
That was a beautiful clip. I think Scott Jennings did a great job, honestly. Commenting on Justin Trudeau resignation. God bless these truckers, he says. Has he resigned yet? Yes, he has resigned. I believe Trudeau is gone and gone for good. Yes, but CNN, you see, is completely biased. You can tell already that CNN is completely against Trump. And what the Republicans stand for, they don't want to hear what Scott Jennings had to say at all. He makes great argument, but they are completely deaf to his point. It's sad to see. I believe, honestly, I'm still wondering why Scott Jennings is still working for CNN and how can he still be on this panel and arguing with everybody all the time, honestly. But that's funny to watch. He's probably still there because he makes great ratings. That's probably why. And he's probably comfortable at CNN as well. We will see if he changes his career or not in the future. Let me know what you think about this. Thanks for watching as always, and click right there to watch the next video, and I will see you there. Bye bye.